tuko na Dr. James K.
Yes.
Now, Dr. James K anatoka katika chuo kikuu cha Kabarak. Okay, he's a lecturer. He'll be telling us more.
Yeah.
And any question that you have in regards to the topic of discussion, maybe right now, kuna conflict ambayo unajaribu kusolve and you don't know how to go about it.
Yes.
Wewe tegea, sikiliza,
uliza
swali.
Yes.
Our numbers remain the same.
22545 and then kwenye WhatsApp ni 0721105105 and MBCI TV pale ambapo tuna broadcastia live kwa comment section unaweka pale your concern.
I tell you. So, Dr. K, good morning.
Morning.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
We are happy to have you.
Thank you.
It is your really first time to be here on MBCI TV.
And honestly, the first time to be on TV.
Okay, yeah. Hey, so
See now.
What I hear for you.
Your reaction nanikumbusha mtu mwingine. It's okay. Yes.
Karibu sana. Tunapenda wageni sana hapa. Na pia Monday of course is a knowledge Monday. Na tunajua kwamba every guest tushaileta hapa amekuwa na impact kwa mtazamaji wetu because MBCI TV is all about transforming lives.
Wonderful.
Now we are here talking about conflict management. But even before we talk on how to go about it, when you talk about a conflict, what are we really talking about?
Yeah.
As psychologist, I teach psychology. But psychology and teaching is a tool for advancing kingdom.
Allah.
Because these are assignments that we have in our areas of jurisdiction. God says, have dominion.
Have dominion.
Jesus later said, occupy. So that's kingdom transaction. So my whole outlook of it is that this is a place of deployment to affect lives in Kabarak University as a lecturer teaching psychology. So when we focus on conflict, we have to swing back and forth. I have to explain to my viewer that at Kabarak University we do everything in biblical perspective.
Okay.
That is our mantra, that's our motto. And so you'll find me making references to Bible. It's a text that is universally available. And so you'll understand that.
Okay.
Conflict. The word conflict was coined in the 15th century.
All right.
Yeah. And it was a Latin word, conflictus.
Conflictus.
Which meant to strike hard. Now, the word striking hard denotes an art of warfare. And warfare can be effected or actualized in different planes. Can be psychological, emotional, social, physical. So then when we talk about conflict, we are just talking about disagreement. When we are working together and we are not agreed, we will actually be tripping each other, we'll be hampering each other and hindering each other.
Yes.
And that's why it's written, can two work together unless they agree?
They agree.
So once there is no that agreement, we are not in tandem, that is already a conflict.
Yes.
And we see it way in Genesis. Verse 1 of chapter 1 is okay. Everything is in sync. Verse 2, there is a problem. Things are not where they are supposed to be. Verse 3, there is an introduction of another phenomena called light. And then you go to verse 4, and it says, there was a conflict between light and darkness. So God had to mediate that conflict and resolve it. And he divides. Says, you have this, your territory. You have this, your territory.
Kuna kuingiliana. From
that point onwards, kingdoms advance through conflict and they thrive through conflict.
Okay.
Hey.
Allah.
Haya.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, Daktari.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Now that tells you what I am seeing. Yes.
You know, nobody likes conflict kabisa.
Hakuna.
Nobody. But now it is inevitable. We cannot even avoid it. So, in case of a conflict, now, how do you go about it?
Before I come to that point, you know, we need first of all to establish, why do people conflict? You know, In the beginning, everybody was created autonomous. I said I'll be making a lot of references in psychology and also in Bible, because psychology is the study of the mind, and the mind is actualized through words. Everybody was created unique, and everybody was created as an individual. No two people are alike, and that is where the challenge is.
Hakuna watu ambao wanafanana wawili eti.
Hakuna. Yani kila mmoja ameumbwa kivyake.
Kwa dunia nzima hii.
And the challenge of that is the original mandate. Everybody was created to rule, have dominion. Genesis 1:28 says God blessed them. He first of all did it, and then he spoke to them. He spoke and he said, now that you are blessed, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. So become, and on basis of the foundation of becoming, now you can have dominion. So you are, you become, then you have. This is the foundation of all conflict. Why? Because he was told, have dominion over what? Everything else in the created cosmos, in the terrestrial world, but never over any other person. So psychologically you are wired to dominate. The challenge comes when now you want to dominate another dominion.
Yes. Now another person.
I'm a king. You see, dominion is a reserve for kings and rulers. So I'm a king, and I have that mandate, have dominion. And then you are a king, and you have that mandate, have dominion. Now when two kings meet, they act as equals. The challenge comes when you start now infringing on my territory. Because kings reign over kingdoms, and kingdoms expand by territory conquest. So you expand your territory through conflict. You see now? So when God said, you are, so become, then you will have. In the process of becoming, that is where the challenge is. And that's where most conflicts occur.
Okay.
The mindset of every human being is to conquer and expand. You see, today we are talking about conflict management. It means that someone somewhere, or everybody, encounters conflict at one point or another.
Oh, yes.
And if you are not able to surmount that conflict, you are not able to deal with that conflict and overcome it, then it means you are under dominion of the conflict.
Oh.
And
so
that
the conflict is really dominating me.
Yes.
Over here.
And that is territory that you are ceding. So it says, look, Genesis 1:28, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. The word subdue it denotes conflict, denotes aggression, denotes as you expand. Before this facility was put here, there was something else. And then now this needed to be here. So what happened? There was a conflict, right? And some mediation and management had to take place so that either one cedes territory and the other takes over.
Yes.
Or now we negotiate to see how we will agree to disagree.
Yes. Okay.
Right? When do people have conflicts? I started by laying that foundation, and I said the quest for autonomy. For example, you are a media person, and your quest is to expand and be the best that you are.
Yes.
Why? Because you have a kingdom assignment where you are. As you become better and better, you are actualizing yourself as a king in your area or in your territory. And Jesus said, occupy till I come. Actually, the version that is in Luke says, do business till I come. So every time it's a transaction, And you know, the autonomy and the quest for autonomy means that people have different interests. My interests are not your interests.
Yes.
My values are not your values.
Yes.
My actions are not your actions. My views are not your views.
Yes.
Now, when you start now imposing your views on mine, that is the beginning of conflict already, because now it means that we are not in agreement.
Yes.
I have that wiring to dominate.
What about when I feel I am right?
But everybody's right. That is a perception and viewpoint.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
The challenge comes here. Right and the true are two different things.
Yes.
You may be right,
But I'm not.
but in your own right.
Yes.
And that is why it is your right. Yeah.
Okay.
But what is the truth? Truth is the original fact, the original information.
Yes.
And that does not change. But now each of us perceive differently. Perception in psychology is defined as how we interpret our environment. Now, if I look at you, if I'm a pastor, I'll see a potential member of the church. Now I'm a lecturer. I look at you, and I'll be wanting to recruit you to come and study psychology. I look at you, and maybe I'm a business person, and I'm seeing a business partner. I want to advertise with MBCI.
Yes, yes.
And it's the same person. It's you.
Yes, but with different sides based on...
Great. So you see, Paul says, we know in part. We understand in part. We speak in part. But truth is the whole. And he says, when truth comes, when the whole comes, then whatever is in part is taken away.
Good.
Now, until that time, your opinion is the only thing you have with no strings attached.
Yes.
My opinion is the only thing I have with no strings attached.
Wow.
Everything in between is negotiated business.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I feel I'm right, it does not mean I'm right. It's my perceptions, my perceived idea.
That things should go this way. And I'm looking at you and I'm like, what are you saying?
Yes.
From where I see it, no, this is what we need to do.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe Dr. if you can now go back to my
Conflict
question,
deal
because now
here.
that is now the differences that are there, and we just have to accept that. So how because now how do we, like, just make sure that we manage these conflicts, because vile explain ni kama we can never avoid the vitu ambazo ziko tu, we'll never avoid it, but now how to manage it so that sometimes when a conflict arises, people are not having those different perception and disagreement and heartaches and
Okay, there are 5 facets in conflict management, according to psychology. You see, there is you, the individual, the self, and there is you that is near, your neighbor. And all of us are created in the image of God. So we have certain common ground for everybody. And I started by saying that one of the common grounds is that all of us are kings in our own domains. Okay. So psychology looks at it in 5 facets and divides, and that's why I said in biblical perspective, divides into your neighbors and yourself. Look at it like a graph. There is what you think about others on one side, right? What you think about others, it's called cooperativeness, right? Or cooperative ideation. And then on the other plane is what you think about yourself, your views about self. So what you want to cede to others, cooperativeness, and what you want to cede to yourself, that is assertiveness. Now, assertiveness has to do actually with how you want to actually take over territory and you don't want to cede any of it. Because true to say, kingdoms don't grow by ceding territory. You don't expand by giving away what you have already gained. So if you are high on cooperativeness, you think about others so highly. And if you are low on self-assertiveness, then you will respond to conflict by avoiding it. You'll be an avoidant. We call them avoidant, right? You will run away from conflict.
Yes.
Okay.
And those who keep on running away from conflict, they are susceptible to something we call implosive responses. So if you keep on running away from conflict, the conflicts don't run away from you. So you keep on running away and you cannot mediate it, you cannot confront it, you cannot address it.
Yes.
You keep on ingesting. And Jesus said, what goes into a man through the mouth is not harmful. What goes into a man through the ears is harmful.
Yes.
Why? Because the mind, what you think affects how you feel.
Yeah.
The mind affects the heart.
Yes.
How you feel influences how you perceive your environment.
Yes.
So your emotions affect your perceptions. And then your perceptions determine how you react. How you react is what we see. That is what we call behavior.
Yes.
See? So if you keep running away from conflicts, you are avoidant. Conflicts will not run away from you. So you keep on heading into one conflict and running away, you meet another, run away, meet another, run away. I call it the wilderness experience. That the reason for your season is the lesson in that season. So if you keep running away from the lesson, you will keep getting back to the season until you learn. Then there is no reason for the season, so you pass. That is one quadrant, avoidant.
Yeah.
Now on the extreme side, remember I drew it like this. Others, self.
Yes.
So on the extreme side is when you are high on cooperativeness and you are high on assertiveness. So you want to cooperate with others, but you also want to gain what is yours. And that quadrant is collaboration. You see, there's something in you, there's something in me. So you see, I can gain from you, you can gain from me. So you have a self to offer, and it is a business transaction.
Okay.
On the other side, when you are very high on assertiveness, but you are very low, you are very low on cooperativeness, then you become very competitive. You are resolving your conflict through competitiveness. Tuone nani atashinda.
Nilikuambia.
Twende basi. Now if you don't want, okay, let's go. But that one can only work if you are so strong and powerful. You unajiamini, no? But it's not good. Why? Because all humanity is wired for socialization. We are social beings. So I cannot win alone. That's why when you find you are alone, you start getting stressed.
There is a problem.
Because the other day we had lockdown. That partial lockdown.
Yes.
People are at home. And that brought a lot of conflict in families because suddenly you used to run away from conflicts because now you pretend you go to work, kumbe you are running away from conflict.
Yes.
Now you are in the house and you find yourself two strangers who have been married 10 years. So now, what do?
You got to confront it.
And this one is assertive and that one is assertive and you find someone saying, kila mtu apambane na hali yake. So you see. So on the other opposite now, when you are high on cooperativeness and low on assertiveness, it means I will cede my territory very fast, but I will collaborate. I will actually give you what you want. It is called accommodation.
Accommodation.
Yes.
Where now you have to accommodate this.
Yes, you come with your right, and I accommodate it as my right, so I have no right. I don't know you're getting the philosophy of that. Sasa hiyo ndio kufinyiliwa. But because you want to avoid the conflict, you say, sasa nitadu. You see? So you can either now accept what others are saying or fail to accept and say, okay, you have your opinion, I have my opinion, let us keep going, see where we are headed.
Happens.
Yes.
Now, as maybe to bring it closer to our viewer, is because we have said that in this world we will always, have conflicts.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes unaweza jaribu sana nini lakini unaisikia tu hapa ndio hii imekufikia. Then what do I need to do to make sure kwamba I'm able to solve a conflict without necessarily things getting out of hand?
We will get down to the foundation, and that is the word. Now, word in psychology is defined as expression of thought.
Yes.
So before you say anything, it is in you. So words are you.
Yes.
As you think, so you are. But when you speak, so you become. And somewhere it is said that a fool is thought to be wise if he keeps quiet. I mean, I can think that you are very happy if you keep quiet until you open your mouth and talk. Now, what happens is this. What is in your mind? Because the mind is where all these things happen before. I started by saying the mind, we call it cognitive behavioral approach. Your mind, what you think affects how you feel affects how you perceive things, and your perception determines your response. So this conflict is coming.
Yes.
It first must be transacted in your mind. It is processed at the reception, that is the mind, before even it is seen. Because there are several phases of conflict.
Okay.
There is the latent stage, the initial stage, the latent stage. Now there's conflict, but you are not aware that there's conflict.
Yes.
It's like something bad.
Yes.
You know? And then, that is the latent one.
Yes. Okay.
If you will allow me to check on something here.
Yes, that's very interesting.
There is
ticket.
The
nakuona aje, but anyway.
Come on.
Kumbe sasa hiyo conflict kameanza
tu kuinua pole.
And you are also selling. Hata wewe venye niliona jana, anyway, sitaki kuongea mambo mingi, but kuna kitu tu hapo.
Yes. So it starts from the latent, inatokota.
Yes.
Bado haijaanza kuchemka.
Yes.
Inatokota. It's latent, and then there you are not aware, but you can feel the rumblings from afar. Then you get to the stage of perception.
Okay.
It's now perceived. Things are not right here.
Yes.
Mbona siku hizi ninaongeleshwa aje? I used to be texted 10 times a day, how are you? And it's not happening now. You see. And then after perceived, now there's the felt. Now it is getting into you. Felt. Now you feel, no, things are not all right. Okay? The felt. And then there's the manifestation stage, where now you respond. Because for every communication transaction, it cannot be completed until there's feedback. So every time I greet you, and you are answering like, okay. And you started by perceiving like, she used to get very excited when I greet her. He used to get very excited when I greet him.
Then all of a sudden,
nowadays, all right, tutaonana, thank you, I'm fine. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the perceived stage. Then there's the manifestation. Hey, I don't like the way you are talking to me. Now you are manifesting the conflict. Both parties now understand, or you can feel, because conflict can be both external and internal, can be social or psychological. So it's the feeling, no, something is not right in me, and now you are manifesting that conflict, and you're getting agitated, and now energy is going into reacting to that conflict.
Unaninyamazia nini?
You see.
Yeah, in fact, the time umesaidia sana. In fact, today I was just going to manifest somewhere.
Okay.
Nilikuwa nataka kumanifest. Amesema tu vizuri vile kanaanza. Kanaanza tu ni kama and then you start perceiving, you know, then you feel it, and then
mimi sitaki nini. Tangu juzi nimekuwa nikikuona hapa na nitakugonga. Now you manifest.
pa.
So is it okay to manifest or ufinyilie tu? Ama ujifinyilie tu?
Now you see,
Yeah.
Na usimanifest.
it's important also to know that conflict, because it is a part and parcel of life. And through conflict we grow. I started by saying kingdoms expand and thrive through conflict. So for you to expand, you are taking over other people's territory. So someone has to cede some territory for you to gain that territory. And when you gain that territory, you keep it.
Okay.
And not in a bad way. I want you to picture it this way. A small baby starts by growing, and at one point there's a conflict, separation from the mother. So you have to be born.
Yes.
And you get out and you are screaming, I don't want to get in this new environment.
Yes.
But once you get used, you resolve that conflict, you never want to go back.
Yes, true.
And as the baby grows, they have to resolve conflicts in life, learn how to walk.
Yes.
They have to really overcome that conflict of being carried always to sitting and to walking and to talking and all this. You see. And conflict is the potential for growth. The Japanese word, the character that is used in Japanese for conflict is the same for opportunity. So conflicts are not necessarily bad. They are functional conflicts and dysfunctional conflicts.
What about these ones that are bad?
Yeah,
What leads into that?
The
And
ones-
how should I avoid them?
The
Okay.
one-
How should I deal with them?
Yes.
Yeah, kama hii mwalimu inakwambia hii nikimanifest, is it bad? Is it a good
Ama
thing?
ni arrest kwa passiveness hapo.
Ama ni arrestie tu hapo ni nyamaze?
No.
Because it's not a good thing actually.
It will be very dangerous because, you see, by the time it reaches that point of manifestation, there are a lot of stages that have happened.
Yes.
At the point of manifestation, actually, it's where now, if it is the two of us, we can't sit down and resolve. There has to be a conflict mediator. You see that?
Kamisi
So,
itanisindikiza.
because I like what you said in the beginning, that what if I'm right? Because that right is your right, your perceived right, and that is your right. You know, it's your right. But where I'm concerned, your right is not necessarily my right.
Yes.
You also have your right.
Yeah, you think you are right, and I am also right. So now I bring my challenge, you
Yes.
bring your challenge, and you want your way, and I have my way. And there are those who feel it's either my way or the highway.
Yes.
But manifesting is at a later stage. Now, at that point,
Yes.
that's where now you either need help, or if you have a very strong internal locus of control, then you can sort it out. You see?
Yeah.
And manifesting is not necessarily also a bad thing, because when you start manifesting symptoms, you start now addressing the symptoms. The manifestation is the symptoms of the conflict. The root cause goes back to what initiated it all. But you see, once you get to the symptoms, for you to address, because you can just deal with the symptoms and think that you have done it. It's like covering fire
Yes.
with the cloths, and you think that you have finished the business.
Eventually it will.
Yes. So sometimes it's very important to get a third party.
Okay.
Once conflict gets to manifestation stage, you need a third party now, who is a conflict mediator.
A neutral person.
Yeah, a neutral person who will come and map out that conflict and now be able to restore congruence. Because as Carl Rogers says, conflict results from incongruence. I'm not congruent with you. My opinions are not in congruence with yours. In other words, we are not agreed, so we can't work together.
Okay.
And if you feel you are right and I feel I am right, then how do we get back to middle ground? Because you are a king in your territory and I am a king in my territory, and we have diplomatic row.
So what are we supposed to do?
So there are those two ways.
Yes.
You can, if you have internal locus of control that is strong, you can sit down and say, let us talk about this, which happens mostly, especially in relationships. I feel this is not right and I'm not happy about it. Can we talk about it? And then you sit down, and one person, of course, must agree to be neutral.
Yes.
Why? A harsh word stirs up wrath. So if you shout at me and I shout at you, we have already lost it.
Na tuko hoteli na kahawa.
Bas.
And I'm like, cool down. Cool down what? Takumwagia hii.
And you see, the opposite is the same. A soft answer turns away wrath. But a harsh word stirs up.
Daktari, kuna mtu mwenye
What a lesson today. Knowledge Monday.
Now
Yes.
tukileta kwa scenario like now what really happens literally. You're seated down and you're solving a conflict. Kuna wale watu wenye ukiwajibu softly, the way they perceive it ni kama when hiyo kitu hujachukulia kwa uzito. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever come across watu kama hao. Like if you take it softly, they feel like for instance, I can give an example. Mtu amekosewa sana na umemkosea kabisa, and then now this person is trying to talk to you so that you try to understand and see how much you've hurt this person. Sasa wewe mwenye una accusewa kwamba umehurt, you know, you just take it softly, or you know, so me, Kate, I'll feel committee ni kama hajachukulia hii kitu na uzito, because I want him to also, you know, the way he will respond back, I respond in a way that I'll feel
Some weight.
Some weight, yeye pia ameichukua vizuri. So I don't know, daktari, if you can.
So it is like the case that you can come to me and you are like, Kamiti, jana siku, and then I'm busy telling you, so unataka kulia. Pole basi.
Pole basi. Just like that. So mi naona ni kama nimeenda pale, you know, with hiyo bidii ya kumwambia yani aone uchungu wangu, but
And then he's
Kamiti
just taking
hajaona.
it like,
just lightly like that.
do whatever it is that you want to do.
You know, there is taking lightly, and there is what we call empathy. You walk, you get into the what we call the emotional, or what we call the perceptual context of their grief. Communication has different facets, but what we talk about is empathetic communication. I think you have heard people arguing, and you hear people saying, see, and that is a Kenyan weakness.
Yes.
Si unipeleke lunch. Si ulisema hivi.
Si nimesema pole.
See, you know, that word, when you transliterate it, when you translate it to English, is why don't you? Why? And you know, when you ask the word why, it is psychologically accusative. It's accusing you, so you have to defend yourself. So even when we were in good terms and I tell you, si uniite tena nikuje kwa hii kipindi, it's like, are you getting
I'm not going to call you.
Yes. Now, empathetic communication. When you start by saying you, statements like you always, you never,
Sini huyu.
that is accusing. You, so the other person tends to react to what you are accusing that person of.
Okay.
Why? Emotion, TDJ calls it emotion. So it's a motion of energy, psychic energy, psychological energy. So it's energy in motion, emotion. So if I trigger your emotion in the negative plane, then it will move towards the negative.
Yes.
But if I trigger it in the positive plane, then it will move towards the positive. And you find someone starts by shouting at the top of their voice, and they calm down, calm down, calm down. And then they ask, by the way, what were we quarreling about?
Yes.
Tunagombania nini?
So, empathetic communication. You see, if you ask me a question and I'm not happy about that question, it's me who is not happy about the question, not you. not any other person.
Yes.
So if we are to communicate, then the best thing in a situation of crisis, in a situation of conflict, then own the problem.
You who have been asked.
Yes.
Okay.
And you, she said, someone who has aggrieved and then he speaks softly and is perceived like now this is also a pushover.
Yes.
No. On the problem in communication. Right?
Yes.
In communication.
Okay.
So, for example, Kate asks me a question and I don't perceive it well and I don't like it. No, that is me. I don't like it. So for me now to clarify before it escalates to a conflict, if I keep quiet, it does not go away. I'll keep on thinking about it. And then I start perceiving Kate differently. Tomorrow, everything will be filtered through my perceived, ideation.
Okay.
So when you start statements with I, Dr. K, you always do this. Now, how do I respond to that? What I hear you saying is that I always don't do, reflecting, you take it first, own it, communicate back the emotional aspect. Okay? Communicate back the emotional aspect. Why don't you ever take me out? I never take you out. You are just reflecting back the statement. Because there is what I say and there is what you hear. And there is what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So empathy, communication with empathy.
Yes.
I hear you saying, because I can tell you, excuse me, umenyamaza sana. That's what I say. But what am I communicating? So you have had people say, mtu anasema, siku hizi wewe umenyamaza sana, mbona hata utokangi? Na unasikia mwingine anasema, yaani vile tu unasema unataka nikupeleke lunch. Si ndio hiyo basi. See? So there is what I say and there is what you hear.
Okay.
But there is what I meant.
Yes.
Right?
All right.
So you never greet me in the morning. Oh, wow. What I hear is that you like when I greet you in the morning. Soft answer turns away wrath.
Yeah.
But if you say, what do you mean? Already you are escalating the situation.
Yes.
Because communication has that. There is the message, there is the medium, and then there is the recipient.
Okay.
But in the process also there is the feedback, which follows the same thing for it to be complete.
All right.
So when you get to that point, when you are talking, it's important to own it. Don't reflect it back. Because when you hear quarrels, unasikia, wewe kwa nini ufanyi hivi? Na wewe. No, I'm just returning it to you.
Siata wewe.
Yeah.
Hala?
But when you pick it, unaipoesha, and then you return it, it's very difficult to fight someone who is not fighting back.
Yes, very.
Very difficult. If you come shouting at someone and someone is laughing at you, you also look at yourself and say, hey, by the way, I appear foolish.
Yes.
If you come to me and you are very agitated and you see I'm very calm and I'm just observing you, even that presence has a calming effect.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how
That was a lesson.
If you realize kwamba kuna conflict ama there's a problem somewhere, how long should you just stay with it before solving, or where should you intercept it? Because uko umetupatia inaanza kidogo.
Umesuspect na
so where should you intercept maybe at your own level before you fike hata kwa mediation or maybe involving another party?
According to me, you should handle it at the perceived stage. Because now you are starting to perceive it. It's not yet a problem, but just a potential. You see, a tidal wave, a tsunami builds by, first of all, making the sea to retreat.
Yes.
Right? People are the same. When you see someone is emotionally retreating, it means that there is a tidal wave coming. Right? Because if you are very close and suddenly you are starting to drift apart, that's the point when you perceive it, it is very important to start dealing with it at that point. Right? Waswahili wasema kwamba usipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. Kwa sababu gani? Inaanza kidogo, unaiwachilia, inaendelea kupanuka. Itafika mahali huwezi ziba, itabidi ubomoe, uanze kujenga tena. Right? So, communication at the time of perceived, clarify.
Yes.
We are individuals, we are autonomous.
Yes.
How you think is not how I think. When I start feeling that something is not right, you own it. And how do you own it? Somebody saying, committee, there's this thing I would like us to talk about. I feel this and this is happening, and I am not comfortable. What do you think? I'm starting. The problem is me. It's I. Then you clarify. Then when you clarify,
Okay.
So you see, if my students, for example, start calling me and I can't receive my phone, and because I'm in studio, and they start wondering, hey, uleka natulenga, that's how they speak. Now they are doing exams. So it's very easy for emotions to flare up.
Yes.
But if afterwards someone comes and calls, hey, teacher, we were calling you and you are not receiving. Are you okay? And I tell them, no, I was in studio,
Doing a show, yes.
Now that one brings down the temperatures. You see. But if they keep quiet, another time they will call, I will maybe be in church preaching.
Yes.
And they say, "Uyu ametuzoea." You see now? So what happens is, at the perceived stage, bring it up, solve it. God says, come, let us reason together.
Yes.
So God is the greatest conflict manager. No wonder his kingdom is the greatest.
Yes.
So the same thing in our own kingdoms, our families, our workplace, our social arena. Once I feel like, I've bought you lunch for the last 3 times. And every time you are complaining you are broke, we are with the same employer. Kwani pesa yako unapeleka wapi? I feel I am always buying lunch. I feel I am always
buying lunch.
You are using still the word always. You always eat my lunch without buying.
Yes.
I feel I'm always buying lunch. Do you have financial challenges? Then now you clarify, and when you clarify, the conflict is resolved. And when it is resolved, there will be more trust. There will be more trust between me and you, because now I've got into your perceptual field.
Okay.
Now I know what is going on with you, and you have allowed me to get into your phenomenal field or perceptual field. So I feel it's an honor for you to allow me to have an embassy in your territory.
So I shouldn't come with a you.
Once you start with you, now what happens is that I'm accusing you. So in other words, I'm attacking. Actually, the right word is remember, we said conflict, conflictus means striking hard. So once I attack you, you also attack back. Kings don't shrink back. We are not those who shrink back, turn back, and perish. We press forth unto salvation.
Wow.
You see? So in your kingdom, when you are trying to gain more viewership and people are sending texts and saying, wewe sometimes unatukasirisha. What do? The customer is always right. That is a principle in business world. The customer is always right. Because they are expressing their opinion. They may not do it right. They may do it crudely, but they are expressing their opinion. So what do? How can I improve? You don't tell me, you always criticize me.
Yeah, not even in nyingi anyway. You don't have to,
You don't have to watch here.
That is conflict management.
And the fact that I love that point, Kate. I don't know if you got, when God says come, let us reason together. He's not telling you, come, I tell you what to do. He's telling you, come, let us reason together. But many of the time unapata kukiwa na conflict, when you call me to come and we sit down talk, you want to tell me what you want done going forward. Rather than calling me, come, wacha tujadili hili jambo, and then we see the way forward.
And you see the context of that.
Yes.
He's saying, Israel, I'm really going after you and you are not willing. Surely, what wrong have I done? Then he says, you have wronged me, but come, let us reason together, because maybe you feel I have wronged you.
Yes.
So you see, empathetic.
Yes.
Come, tell me where I've gone wrong.
Yes.
That is God speaking.
Yes.
Imagine.
All powerful, almighty.
Yes.
But come, let us reason together. And we are made in his image. So we have the capacity to transcend our personal ego and our insecurities and say, well, you are very angry with me and I know I may have done wrong, but I don't know which wrong. Come, let's talk. Where am I wrong?
Yes.
Because sometimes I may do something wrong which according to me is right.
Yes.
In your mind it's wrong, then you introject it and you are implosive. So you are passive aggressive. And you pass through there. This happens in marriages a lot. I will keep quiet for 2 weeks. I do. And so you are wondering, why are you keeping quiet on me? And then it reaches a point where now you also, especially those who explode, what's wrong with you? Now you feel you are the aggrieved, but you are the one who was the aggressor in the beginning. But not because you kept it and it grew to something else. The symptoms changed the whole perception.
Wow. Hey.
Ngoja kwanza kamili lesson kali sana.
Naelezo tumalize.
Kuna maswali mawili hapa. Kuna watu ambao like what you've just explained and you've brought it out kwa sababu watu wengi sana wakati wana feel kwamba kwa aggrieved they're going to solve a conflict, they would say wewe, you know, like it's pointing fingers and you just clarify that, you know, you start, you know, by saying I that one is better to give that person a good environment. So like maybe let's say a boss, jobs we've seen, we have an employer and an employee, and then there's a conflict and you feel it is the boss who has, you know, who has infringed, you know, your rights. Na uko pale. And you'd find it's easy for a colleague, maybe you'd find it's easy either to pitane ama tuelewane. I will not care, because at the end of the day you cannot fire me, you cannot hire me.
Yes.
But now when it comes to my boss now, inakuwa kwamba you feel kwamba there's conflict and you want to talk about it, but inakuwa ni mingi sana. I've seen a situation where someone amefeel kwamba ameona boss ni kana kwamba amemkosea, and then this person decided to go and face the boss.
Yes.
So thinking that I'm going to solve an issue. Do you know alitoka hapo akimwambia you are fired. Enda nyumbani. Just like that. And then you're like, mimi ndio, how come nakuwa fired? So even like even parents, a father and a child, a parent has maybe infringed right ya mtoto. Mtoto akiji-express, it looks like the child is rude, or maybe the consequences zinakuwa nyingi kwa mtoto. So do you also consider age, the authority, the positions, and so on? Do you consider that when you're looking at this conflict management?
You see, in the context of power dynamics, because you've just described now power dynamics,
yes,
a person in authority has some rights, right? Sometimes they'll infringe on you, but look, I like Proverbs says that the king has sword. He has power over life and death. And here, the context of life and death is not necessarily in terms of mortality. So the king has the sword. That's why even today, the kings of any country, when they are inaugurated, they are given a sword. So the king, the person who has power over you, has some rights over you. That is why dominion comes in. So they may aggrieve you, and when you are aggrieved, you don't have power to confront, because when you confront, it is like what Jesus tells Saul, later Paul. You are kicking against the gods. I'm prodding you to go, and you are kicking and you are rebelling. Now what happens is wisdom is very key. What is wisdom? wisdom is application of knowledge. Knowledge is accumulation of facts. You have a lot of facts in your mind and you feel now this is right, this is not right. No, you are wrong and I am right. That's factual. But fact is a continuum. And the response to facts are a continuum from fear to faith. I said I'll keep on oscillating.
Yes.
Now, you can respond by fear and confront what you cannot overrule. And the consequence will always be negative on your side. There is fear. Look at the case of Esther. You read the book of Esther, it's a classic psychological book in the Bible. Esther sees Haman as aggressed against us. He wants to kill us, and me and my people. But Haman is so powerful such that though I'm the queen, I cannot just tackle this Haman this way. And the edict has come from the king, but the enforcer is Haman. Right? So Esther now prays for wisdom. Wisdom is application of knowledge, which is accumulation of fact, to solve a problem. So she says, King, I want to honor you. And she makes a banquet and flaunts the king, something that Vashti has not done. I'm not going to that. So she honors him and he feels very honored and he's very happy and he says, there must be a reason for this. He says, I just wanted to honor you. And the next time he says, okay, if you come next time, I will tell you why. And the king comes and the same Haman. And Haman is honored and the king is honored and they have the second one and the story, you know it. So when Esther says, now king, I'm done for. I don't know how to put this, but I don't know. The king is in a more perceptive mode. So when you want to resolve a crisis with a person who is in authority, honor the authority. Then the authority will grant you power. Power is the ability to influence. Authority is the ability to command. So when you honor the authority, you get power so that you can influence authority to command power. Are you getting me? So once you start now by going through, you don't go with confrontation because you only confront what you can overcome. If you go to your boss with confrontation, he has the power of the pen. Just tell you, okay, I recommend this one to be fired. Maybe he does not fire you. He will give a negative feedback. It will be filed somewhere in his mind folders. But when you go that way, you look for wisdom. Honor the authority, present your case, and ask for his opinion, his advice. Actually, you will end up getting very good direction on how to avoid such in future. And I've seen very good bosses who actually turn back. Esther looks at the mistake the king has done, but he does not go to tell him, you did a mistake. Honors him, and then later when Haman is no longer there, she goes to the king and says, you know, king, Haman is gone. But your decree is still holding. You see? She did not confront him like you did a mistake. Now it was not fair. No. So the king says, well, it cannot be changed. So what I can do is give you power over what Haman had started for you and your people. So the consequence may not be taken away. But now the person in authority can now authorize you. You cannot have what you don't honor. So if you don't honor your authority, you will go there very tough and you think you're getting anywhere. And when the emotions are cooled down, you say, I was a fool.
Wow. Kate, we have to end it at that.
Hakuna hata feedback.
Feedback is go up, but unfortunately naelezwa kwamba muda wetu umekwenda sana. We still have birthdays and something else. So maybe kama nikusoma tu just as a statement, not necessarily waiting for the feedback from the viewer. Anasema committee, nice topic there, conflict management helping many. Pastor JD kutoka kule Embu ndivyo anasema, and then kuna hapo anasema praise the Almighty God, congratulations. My mentor, you never disappoint. May you grow from continue trending more higher and higher. Your teachings never disappoint. Blessings. Juliet Lugwisa, ndivyo anavyosema hapa. And then kuna mwingine hapa ambaye anasema, I love that topic of discussion. It's just wow. So many of us, we don't know how to solve conflicts, but now conflict management nimeweza kuelewa. I should deal with it wakati ambapo nimeanza kuperceive mambo si mazuri, and I should not go there confronting that other person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That is so nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
so hizo ni baadhi ya jumbe ambazo tumeweza kuzipokea, na kuna zinginezo lakini nafikiri kwamba muda hautaweza kuturuhusu. Yes.
So kwa wale ambao wana celebrate birthday today, I think maybe daktari atatupatia parting shot when it comes to conflict management, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. The parting shot, remember that you are a king. You are created in the image of the King of Kings. That's why you are a king.
Yes.
And kingdoms expand and they thrive through conflict. So conflicts are not necessarily bad when you address them at the right time.
Yes.
And the right time is at the perception stage.
Okay.
Remember, when you deal with it at that time, you gain territory, you win people back, and you restore relationships. That way you grow strong. And always remember, what cannot destroy you will leave you stronger. So conflicts also come to build you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amazing. Wow. Welcome. Thank you so much. God bless you. That was amazing.
Na hizi discussions zinahitajika pale nyumbani, kazini, makanisani.
Yes.
And I know kwamba Dr. James K ako na nambari. Maybe if anyone would want maybe to talk to you.
Maybe talk to you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my number is 0724 887 431.
0724
0724 887 431.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Tukaendelea hapa mpaka
Thank you so
mwisho.
much. So Daktari, if we give you a call again, we pray that you have time to come and help us understand these issues.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amazing. Ninaamini ya kwamba sasa mtazamaji wetu umeweza kujua how to go about it wakati ambapo kuna mzozo mahali, you don't know what you want to do, lakini you have already perceived ya kwamba hapa kuna shida. May God give you, the wisdom on how to go about it. Usiende ukifikiri kwamba unakwenda kutengeneza mambo upata kwamba ndivyo unaharibu hata na zaidi. Right?